This church was a mess. I'm not gonna lie. It was
Wow.
every Sunday. Every Sunday there was a devil. Every Sunday was a demon. I remember they invited
It was like that. Bro.
Yo,
I'm telling you, it's like that.
Now, and by the grace of God, my dad don't play that. They forcefully call up all the youth to get prayed for. And yeah,
Forcefully.
Yeah, forcefully.
Oh,
like
you
they're
don't know
like,
about this culture.
Oh
Keep
yeah,
it-
yeah,
come on,
right,
man.
I don't know, bro. I grew up
about
Jehovah's
it.
Witness, bro.
Oh, you did? Oh
Yeah,
my
bro.
God.
I grew up Jehovah's Witness. A whole different cult.
Then the guy that they invited to preach, mind you, evangelist, apparently 30, 40-year evangelist, but I'm like, yeah, church is a business. Like, I play around with that. I say that very loosely. But then also...
A lot of them are, bro.
Yeah.
But
Say
basically,
that again.
evangelism is sales. If we're really going to get into that, because here's the thing.
All right, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody out there. This is Dry Bones Podcast, episode 27. We are back. We are pumped up and excited. And as promised, we have another guest in the building. We're going to let him introduce himself in a second. But I'd like to thank all the viewers, all the subscribers, all the
Facts.
people that like, all the people that share the content. It's great, honestly. When we started doing this, as we always say, we were called by God. We feel like we're called by God
Amen.
to do this. This is not just something that we're doing as a pastime, as a hobby.
Right.
You know, this is something that we feel that we're called. And if we're called, God is going to back up
Mhm.
whatever that project is, right?
Mhm.
And so, you know, we see that. We see the hand of God in our life. You know, before I kick it off to our guest, it was a funny story that I want to share right off the bat, you know, of one of the most popular YouTubers. I forgot his name, but he's like a video game streamer. And you know, then he became like a live stream guy where he shows content all over the place where he goes, he like records himself. But the point is,
Kai Cenat, I Show Speed.
no. It's the other one. He has like a mushroom haircut.
What the heck?
He has like a mushroom.
Oh, I know who
haircut.
you're talking about,
Right.
bro.
He has like
Sketch?
100
No,
million.
what's his name? I know who you're talking about, bro.
Well, anyways, the point is,
I know
we'll
who you're
get the
talking
name.
about.
We'll get the name
And he
later.
made content with what's her name? The rapping chick. He was just
yes,
he was with her.
yes.
With Iggy Azalea. He was chilling with Iggy Azalea.
Correct, but he has
Neon.
Neon.
Yes.
Neon.
Neon.
Yeah,
bro,
that's who he
and
is.
this dude like millions of subscribers and stuff. And the other day he was sharing like a slideshow, and he talked about like his first year. He broke it down into months, and he was like, you know, 8 subscribers,
Mhm.
15 subscribers month 2, 40 subscribers month 3, and he was like by the end of year 1 he had like 300 subscribers.
That's what I'm saying. The growth
Right.
is weird in the beginning.
It's
yeah,
so
man.
weird.
In the beginning is
And
weird.
he was like, what kept him going was that 2-3 people that were just viewing his content just like consistently, faithfully viewing his content. That's what kept him going, what pushed him, what motivated him. Lo and behold, now he's one of the most popular, most impactful, biggest streamers in the planet.
That's made content
And
with
it's
all those other guys.
consistent. Yes, bro, that makes content with everybody. And I think it's consistency. The key is consistency, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to keep being consistent with you guys. We're going to keep bringing as many people as possible that want to bless you guys' life.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I only know him by first name basis. And I don't even know if that's his nickname or if that's his real name. Because ever since he was young, little pup, going to the gym where we met, I've called him Melo. So Melo, introduce yourself, bro. Tell us who you are.
So my name is Cesar Javis Melo. Named after my pops. That's why. That's
Hey,
why.
okay.
So we just got different middle names. But yeah, my name is Cesar Javis Melo. You know, I reside out of Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm a diehard Eagles Lakers fan. So you know what I'm saying? So, and not because of LeBron, it's because I am a true Lakers fan. Exactly. But other than that, yeah. You know, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't a follower of Christ, but
Yes.
I'm here because I'm blessed. This upcoming year, God has introduced me to my ministry. I'm now a young and upcoming evangelist. So you know, this year I have seen God's glory firsthand, and everything that He promised me from I think I was like 11 years old. It's now starting to come into fruition.
Yeah.
Amazing, bro.
But I don't know. It feels weird. I don't like being those people that they introduce themselves as their calling. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I know why I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, I'm a diehard, you know, gym rat.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
That
And then-
summarizes it.
Yeah, I'm not complicated.
Nah, bro, but I think that's where we met. That's where we
Yeah,
met. I met
absolutely.
your father first. We were talking about this off camera. met your father first, and then you were too young to step on the court and play with us.
Yep.
But every time we were going on fast breaks or we would go on the other side of the court, you would be the one shooting under the rim that was open.
Mm-hmm.
With a couple of other of the young guys there, and then when you started getting on the court, it was funny because you started growing. And at 13, you were already like my size. And then when he gets on the court, he's so much bigger, and he's always been like strong.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is this kid? This kid is like bodying us and stuff like that. What the heck is
Out of
going
nowhere,
on?
like, it was just
it was wild, bro. I used to actually get upset.
I ate what mommy cooked. Honestly, that's what I say all the time. No, I was most definitely blessed. I was able to actually, that was another reason why I kind of went MIA, because around the same time you left, that's when I left, because that's when I went to go play college basketball. So that's where I just went MIA from the whole entire gym at LA. And college was like a crazy experience. I didn't do the full 4 years. I did. I think I'm gonna say like 2, 3 or 3.5.
Okay.
But the blessing of me being able to say, hey, I played college basketball for a Christian school.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was.
Which
it was
Christian
awesome.
school was it?
So I went to Lancaster Bible College.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right off of 222.
I used to drive past that when I used to go to work.
Yep.
I used to see it all the time. And I was like, oh wow, that's cool. I didn't know they had a Bible college
right,
here.
right off of the highway. That it's funny. It's like you go there, mind you. Like, I mean, he knew me when I was basketball driven, and one of the best like parts of my relationship with my father is my father used to always tell me, he's like, if you gave 10% of what you give basketball to God, you would be the greatest evangelist.
Woo.
Yeah.
He's already, he dropped a dime.
Exactly. No, he used to tell me that at 16, 17. I'm like, yeah, man, whatever, cool, whatever. I'm going to go hoop. And exactly. And I always tell myself, I'm like,
I remember that version of him too. By the way.
I was a hothead. Yep. Like, it would be just a regular like 3-on-3 or 5-on-5, and if I lost,
it was over. I actually remember. Yeah.
It was cussing, swearing, punching walls. Like, I was just hot. I was
some
just
NYC
hot.
stuff, man.
Yo, for real. For real.
He was like that. He was
fought in the courts in New York, man, all the time.
Almost. I think he got into some squabbles with a couple people there. Or close to it. He was hot-headed for real. Like, he's saying
I was.
Bro, I'm telling you.
I was. It was definitely was a growing pain. And I always think about it, I'm like, if I would have had the wisdom now, then I feel like everybody does that, when as
that's
they get
everybody's
older.
story, though, bro.
Yeah.
But regarding basketball, it's like, because one thing I also was told, by one of the guys who taught me how to play basketball, he told me, he was like, yo, if you just lock in with God, like you watch, like it's kind of like paying your tithes, man. It's like, you're just going to get that double blessing. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me try it. And I remember the one time I fasted. I didn't practice at all. I fasted.
Wow.
And then I had a game. And it was, I think it was my first week of college. Yeah. And I had it was like my first week being in the rotation. Ooh, I am so sorry.
No, you're good, bro. You're good,
man.
Look, that's the pastor calling me. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
And no, that's not my dad. That's Swinda.
Oh, okay.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the pastor of pastors right there.
Oh, wow.
So, so he told me, he was like, yo, just do that. So I fasted a whole week and then I played. And that was probably the greatest game I played.
Serious?
Yes, it was actually, no, I'm lying. It was my first year being in the rotation, but it was the week of my birthday and I was playing against Albright.
Okay.
And I had like a 20-something point game. I had like a block, I had some steals, and I was like, whoa, this is cool.
It's fire.
And then of course, I just fall off of the face of the earth.
What kind of fast were you doing? Like
I just did no food for certain times throughout the day.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I told my coach, I was like, yo.
So you're depriving your body, which is something that you really need for basketball.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
That's insane.
And what's crazy? What woke me up to that, Kyrie, he does that for Ramadan.
Oh, yeah, he does.
And I was like, if he could do it, he's Muslim.
21 days too, bro.
Exactly. I was like, why can't I do it as a Christian for at least a week?
Yeah.
So then I tried it, and God showed up for me.
He sustained you, bro.
Yes. Exactly. So
that's fire, bro.
And I wasn't dying or nothing. Like, I was up the court. Like, I still have videos of it. Like, I felt great that game.
That's great, bro.
There's nothing more filling than the presence of God.
Absolutely. So
man.
it's like,
it's amazing.
So now translating kind of like that lesson, I've now moved it now to like a weekly basis, because now I got a really cool group of guys. They're my personal friends. They work out with me at the gym. I actually go to Wild Fit now.
Oh yeah, I know
next to Best Buy. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
That was a lot more private than the LA.
Wild
actually.
Fit.
It's not necessarily private. I just say it's less Dominicans. But we
Yeah, we do mess up every gym we go to. You're right, man. I'm actually fed up now that you say it. You mentioned
it now becomes like something he checks for when he goes to a gym. Hey,
Yeah,
listen, how many
like-
Dominicans are coming
yeah,
here?
like, what's
I
your-
know I'm Dominican, but I was Dominican, by the way.
Dale, primo,
Yo,
dale.
He's
exactly.
Dominican, right?
I'm
Dominican.
Dominican
Okay.
Rican, yeah.
Oh, okay, half and half. Okay.
So I'll be like, yo, what's the census? All right, this is it? Okay.
I'm not
All right,
going
we
to
can
make
hit
too
it. We
many.
can hit it. So no, but all my boys
Yeah,
go
that's
there. It's
good.
like
That's
it's like
good
a bunch of my boys. Like they all work like third shift or deck or whatever it may be. So I
Wow.
try to meet them in the morning or I'll meet them late at night.
Okay.
And yo, we just go crazy as crazy as we can. And but what's crazy is like my mentality, how I was in the gym when I was hooping to now
Mm-hmm.
is completely different. So I'm like, okay, basketball, that was my god at one point. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, it was your idol, huh?
Exactly. So then
Wow.
because I was
Wow.
finding results, but I wasn't finding God. You know? Now here, I find God, and because I find God in the gym, now I'm seeing results.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying?
because you were searching for results. before.
Exactly.
But now you're seeing
Wow.
results. Now that you got God in the
Hold
picture.
on, bro.
Exactly.
I can't. You
He's gonna
can't
have to repeat it.
accelerate that.
He's gonna have to repeat it. Hold on, he's gonna have to repeat it. Go ahead.
Yo, he just snapped.
Say that again,
bro.
say that again.
So before basketball was my God because I was looking for results. But now that I'm looking for God and I just so happen to do something
Yeah.
where I try to find God in it,
Mm-hmm.
then I see the results that I always dreamed of.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because what's
Jesus,
crazy is
wow.
because even before, well, around the same time I started going to the gym, I was like in a really hard like spot in life. And I got in a car accident, I messed up my neck. I was literally
Wow.
like, I literally just
know.
stopped going to the gym for like 4 months straight.
Jeez.
And I jumped up to like 260 pounds. Like if I show you,
Really?
if I show you a picture last November, I look like a fridge. It was
Whoa.
bad.
But how tall are you?
I'm like 6'1". So it's
6'1",
like, yeah.
okay.
So
But that's still,
don't
for
let the
6'1", that's
yeah,
heavy, bro.
Yeah, don't let the Tims fool you.
No,
but-
I was say, bro,
No,
you tall.
You're
I
tall. I mean, compared to us, we're not gonna display our height
Yeah,
because
no.
we're too embarrassed to say it in
No,
public.
they took my height off my ID, so
That-
you know,
Yep.
I don't allow that. You know,
But yeah, that's wild, bro. That you
Yes.
got that bad. I could
So
never imagine.
It was really bad. And what's crazy is like what I tell people all the time, like in that point in time, everything was my God but God.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and what I love about it is like if we see it in the Bible and then we also we see it in our own lives, like anytime you have a calling over your life
Mhm.
and you put something before God,
mm-hmm.
that's like the only time he intervenes and he's like, you know what, let me take it up. Like,
Hold on, let me remind you.
Exactly. So it's like
Yeah.
at the time, basketball was my God, he takes it away.
Wow.
You know, my materialist, what I had at the
Mhm.
time, that was my God, he took it away.
Mm.
You know, my job, I worked at Nike, it was a cool job. I was hooking people up with discounts, you
That's
know what
cool.
I'm saying? I was that guy. Guess what? Takes that away.
Mm.
You know, even my lady at the time,
Mm.
that was my God. I served her more than I served my own God.
Oh
Yo.
my
And
God,
he took it
bro.
away.
Come on.
So it's like the whole entire time I'm chasing, you know, what I thought was something I was gonna glorify God through. But the moment I idolize what I thought was gonna glorify him and
Mm.
not him himself,
Mm.
he's gonna take it away.
Oh,
my
man.
God. So
'Cause
you're
then-
telling me that the idols didn't stay back in Egypt in those days?
Oh,
With
absolutely.
the Exodus, with Deuteronomy, all those. That's not where the idols stood. They still happening today in a modern way.
Absolutely. No, it's what's crazy is like when
It's
you go,
crazy, right?
if you want to go into if you really want to go there, if you really want to go
Bro,
into
that's
like
what we got to do at this point. I mean,
like if you go into Baal and all that stuff, right?
you're right.
You know what I'm saying? You want to go into the golden calf and you want to really go into depth. You got to think about that. All right? This is how I think about this is how I look at it, especially when you go back into Exodus and you think about it.
Mhm.
Who came up with the idea to make it a golden calf?
Us,
so-
well,
let's-
the Israelites.
The Israelites.
The Israelites. You know what I'm saying?
Themselves, right.
You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing, and this is one of my favorite lessons that my father's always taught me. He was like, just because you're called by God doesn't mean you still won't listen to the devil.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, damn.
So the devil's
bro.
still on the loose. He's still
Exactly.
attacking.
You're telling me
Exactly.
a believer could have and lend their ear to the enemy?
So he's not fully protected by the enemy.
Absolutely not.
He's not completely
Bro,
shielded
come on,
to the
man.
point where the enemy can't come close.
Here's the thing. This is where it becomes our problem, though. This is where it becomes our problem. Because when I look at you as the problem and not as well the enemy whispering in your ear as the problem, then now I'm the problem.
Uh-huh,
You know what I'm
uh-huh,
saying?
uh-huh.
Sermon.
Because look at Moses.
Mhm.
Look at Moses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Hit
saying?
that.
He
Yep.
knew what they were doing was wrong.
Yeah.
He goes at them. He's like, "Are you guys crazy?"
Mhm.
But did he stop fighting?
No.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he knew who the adversary was.
Exactly.
He knew there was good. He knew there was evil. He knew what he had to do at the end of the day. So there's so many times where we can go into the topic of church hurt. We can go into the topic of of just like family hurt. We can go into many topics. But how many of these topics are we giving the credit to them as being our reasons of problems or to the enemy? Because who's the real enemy at the end of the day?
Yeah,
it's not my family.
No, it's the devil. Yeah,
I'm supposed to love you like a brother and sister in Christ.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
that's deep though.
Yeah.
That's deep, and that takes spiritual discernment and maturity to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's like even with today, as frustrated I was with everything that happened for me just to
this
get
episode
here.
shouldn't have happened, by the way, guys. You guys have no clue.
Yeah, it's like
the enemy was out tonight, bro.
Yo, crazy. So it's like as much as I wanted to get upset, I'm like, I know something is gonna happen here today by the grace of God. So it's like, okay, I'm calm, I'm collected, because how often does the devil use somebody else to get us off track?
That's right. That's right.
So back to what happened in Exodus.
Yeah.
We going to talk about a golden calf. I'm pretty sure that it was the enemy yapping in there. Hey, yo, make a calf. Something corny. You know what I'm saying? Make a calf.
Right.
Do I know the reason why they made a calf? No. That's a different theological perspective we can get into.
Well, they had actually, Moses had left, and for them, what you're saying is so deep, bro. And I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to make a parenthesis here in what you're saying, because you hitting it. I realized something, bro. Like Moses had left. The people of Israel had been under oppression for so many years that they had lost their understanding of who God was and the promises that God had made years before through Joseph.
They've been out. They've been out.
Yes, because remember, they had been enslaved since Joseph went to Egypt to save them from the time where there was a drought.
Yeah, the famine, yep.
And so they're there hundreds of years, right? They forget who their God is because they're only focused on their daily bread or making it from a day to another, taking care of their children. So now Moses comes back after 40 years being in exile, after killing a man.
True.
And so Moses is leading them. And so the only representation of God that they had was Moses.
Yep.
And so when Moses is leading them through the desert, they're seeing everything that happened to Pharaoh through the word of Moses because God was speaking through him as a prophet.
Yeah.
When Moses separates to seek God, to seek the 10 commandments, to seek direction of what's next in the desert, these people don't know who God's voice is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So whatever was speaking in their ear to them, well, let's do it because that can be God.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he was God's divine agent.
Exactly.
For them. He was God's divine agent for them. Yeah.
Right? So in that context, what you're saying is so crazy that who they were lending their ear to them, because if we don't spend the time to build an intimate relationship with God, we could confuse anything to God.
Absolutely.
And let me jump in here because I'm going to hit this crazy.
We got to swing it back.
And we're going to swing it right back. And we're going to swing it right back because this is all based off of what he said, what he was saying earlier.
Said something crazy,
and what he was saying was that, Melo, what you said earlier was that the problem is that you were replacing God, okay, with things that were not God.
Absolutely.
Right? And it goes to show throughout all of history, we're in the year 2025, back all the way to Exodus with the Israelites. We all are created with a void where we need to worship God, okay? Because of that void, when we don't have God and we don't put God in the middle, we need to put something in the middle. It's natural in us. We need to worship. We're supposed to. We're designed to, right? So because of that, now we don't have God in the picture. We need something to represent our God.
Yes.
Whereas for you, that was basketball.
Yeah.
For you, that was everything else,
His
your girl,
girl,
and for those Israelites, because their divine agent, Moses, their connection to God was gone, they needed something. It became that calf. They needed it.
But the only reason that happened is because they never took the time to build a personal intimate relationship with the God of Moses.
But if you think about it, their relationship was what did he give me? It wasn't necessarily like, hey, what am I giving to this person who just continues to supply my needs? Because what's the crazy thing about it is like even in my time in my relationship, and to correlate it to Exodus, it's like, yo, I've seen the miracles of God, and I still turn my back.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying?
The same as the Israelites.
Exactly.
They saw that sea parted, bro.
I've seen people be healed. I've seen how miraculous God can be. I've seen him how he can change people.
Yeah.
And I just said, well, first it's like, well, me growing up as a pastor's kid and me, like in comparison to somebody who didn't know Christ, like I always joke around. I'm like, hey, I got 23 years in the ministry. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because I was right, like I was born the year I was born. That's when my father and my grandmother they got their first church and stuff like that.
Wow.
So it's like I've never not seen church. So it was easy for me to be like, this is normal, and take advantage of that. You get what I'm saying? But then God is gonna be like, oh, you want to take advantage of me? You want to be comfortable? Okay, I'm gonna show you what's it like to be uncomfortable. I'm gonna show you just half a second what it's like to be without me.
Wow.
And then just that half a second lasted 6 months.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
it becomes that.
exactly. So it's just, but at the same time, it's a process of refinement, and you know, like the way we're supposed to view God and the way we're supposed to view his mercy is like even the same way I'm viewing people who, you know, might treat me bad or whatever, and I know it's not them, but I know it's them allowing themselves to listen to the voice of the enemy.
Right.
At the same time, I have the choice. I have the choice to blame God and say, why did you put me through that? And I have the choice to say, God, thank you, because now I'm a better person because you put me through that.
Correct.
Amen.
You know
That
what I'm saying?
perspective is important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, I preached about it when I was in Atlanta. I preached about, because the pastor that day, he was talking about a shift. You know, about like, you know, how the things you got to let go of to be able to hit that next shift in your relationship with God. And I kind of drew him the analogy, because if we go into the Book of Kings and we talk about Jehoshaphat, you know, how God allowed him to be on top of the mountain to see his enemies destroy each other. But at the same time, he had to get down from that mountain eventually.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And the Bible says at the end of that story, how he did fail God because he did business with somebody God told him not to do business with. You know, so that was the bottom of his mountain. You know what I'm saying?
Pay a consequence.
And he had to pay a consequence.
Yes.
Now, luckily, he was one of the good kings.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, he still had consequence.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But he caused that for himself.
Right.
So there's so many things I can cause for myself. There's so many failures I can cause for myself.
Oh my God,
but at the same time, as long as I know that within my free will, within my failure, God can still be glorified.
He always will
Wow.
Then I'm fine.
be.
You know what I'm saying?
But you see, but bro, there's a spirit that people don't call out that I think is the most destructive spirit not only in the believer's life, but I think it's what keeps secular people away from the church. And it's the spirit of self-destruction. That's what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't call out that spirit because we are such a fan, or we are culturally driven into blaming everything on the devil.
Yep.
Especially Pentecostals. You know how this works.
Yeah. Every Sunday there's a demon.
So he knows what I'm talking about.
I was going to
bro.
ask you about that because, you know, when you were talking about being able to see that the real enemy behind a lot of these things is the devil, I was going to ask, what's your perspective about people who say everything is the devil?
All right. So within that, like those 2 years when everything was my God and stuff like that, I had the opportunity to see another church that wasn't my church very close up. And this church was a mess, I'm not gonna lie. It was every Sunday there was a devil. Every Sunday was a demon. I remember they invited,
It was like that.
yo,
I'm telling you, it's like that.
Now, and by the grace of God, my dad don't play that. Because you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I'm not saying that because that's my dad.
Yeah.
But
No, I know. I've had multiple conversations years ago, but I think me and that guy talked 40 times about things like
and
these.
it was on the same bench next to the water fountain.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
every
Yo, I know.
Yes,
I know
bro,
this.
yes. He was preaching to a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah, no.
Talking always. And like randomly, we would have
Yep.
conversations like that. My man will go deep.
Yep.
And I knew that he wasn't about the dogmatic things, you know, all of these different
Naturally, people who have those deep, you know what I mean, understandings are not dogmatic.
Exactly.
It usually goes hand in hand.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
go ahead, resume.
But yeah, so it was like I was able to see the church very up close. Like I remember the one time they forcefully call up all the youth to get prayed for. And
Forcefully.
Yeah, forcefully.
Oh,
like
you
they're
don't
like,
know about this, coach.
Oh,
You keep
yeah,
it- come on, man.
yeah.
I don't know, bro. I
You
grew
know
up Jehovah's
about
Witness, bro.
Oh, you did? Oh
Yeah,
my God.
bro. I grew up Jehovah's Witness. A whole different cult.
Yeah.
Different kind of cult.
Look at the water, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
not waiting to say, oh, man.
Yeah.
This
So-
guy's always trying to sanctify me every week. Every time I talk about that, he tries to sanctify me. I don't understand.
Oh
I'm not
my
in there no
God.
more,
Yeah,
bro.
every time he says that, it's like it sends
Hey.
shivers to my spine, bro.
Oh my God, I needed that. But no, this church, they forcibly put us up. Then the guy that they invited to preach, mind you, evangelist, apparently 30, 40-year evangelist. But
Wow.
what I joke around about evangelism. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. I was forced to watch it in school, but I fell in love with it. It's called The Death of a Salesman.
I never heard
Am
of it.
No, I haven't
You
heard
ever
of
get
it.
the chance to? It's literally about an old salesman trying to sell an old product that nobody wants anymore. But it's basically about his destruction.
Ooh.
And like another thing too is like when we watch these movies, we're always supposed to watch things with a spiritual lens.
Right.
So
No, that's smart.
That
yeah.
was one of the first things as a young kid that I was able to see as a spiritual lens because guess what? I'm a salesman now. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of God foreshadowing for me. He was like, "Hey, let me put you on."
Let me put you on.
So and what I joke about, sometimes I'm like, yeah, church is a business. Like I play around with that. I say that very loosely. But then also
a lot of them are, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
But if we're gonna be honest, evangelism is sales. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, you're gonna have to hit on that.
Yeah, so but basically evangelism is sales. If we're really gonna get into that, because here's the thing, I gotta explain to you a product that I know you need.
Oh my
God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because everybody needs what?
I gotta switch my hat.
That's your favorite. That's your favorite word, man. Everybody needs hope.
Exactly.
Correct.
So it's like so then when I think about that, now the only difference between me and like what I do for work is I gotta paint a picture in your head that you need this item. But at the same time, sometimes there's people that are so stubborn. Like I've evangelized to a lot of atheists.
Ooh.
So how do I preach? How do I sell someone that they think they don't need?
Yeah.
Right.
So I gotta paint a picture. You know what I'm saying? I do the same thing at work.
Can you tell us how you do that? How do you talk to an atheist?
Please.
I want to know, how is it that you talk to an atheist?
And it was crazy because I was talking to a young lady at the gym literally about this because she wanted to learn about evangelism. So God blesses us with everything. He's blessed us with science. He's blessed us with history. He's blessed us, with just simple essay format. Because at the end of the day, God is the creator of all things.
That's right.
So I feel like when it comes to evangelism, especially how we grew up, Pentecostal and stuff like that, there was only one set way. This is how you do it. You got to go to the street, sit on a corner. Yep. You sell flancocho. When you sell the flancocho, then they fall in love with you, and then you talk to them about Jesus. It's like
that's a formula.
Exactly, it's a formula. Like so, I'm like, nah, like there has to be a different way. And one of the biggest blessings I've ever had was the opportunity in college. I took an evangelism class.
Yeah.
And they teach me the different dynamics of evangelizing. They explained to me something called Romans Road, which I'm gonna get into in a second. But regarding evangelism, I use the same format I would on my papers. You know what I'm saying? So like you got racer format and stuff like that. But I noticed with different demographics, I'm a big fan of demographics. I will
because
study,
that does matter.
Yeah, I will study the heck out of a room before I'm even in there. You know what I'm saying? Like I do my research.
Bro.
I do my research.
Incredible.
But pretty much regarding that demographic, when it comes to atheists, they need science. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I love that.
So they need facts. They need facts and they need science.
That's how they operate.
Exactly.
That's what led them to be atheists.
Exactly. That's how they comprehend.
I want to hear how he aligns science with God.
This is what I want to hear.
This is good.
And honestly, when it comes to science, it's not necessarily hard because it's like, God is not. He's not the same way the devil's not holding back on how he's playing with us, and he's they're doing sins right in front of us. So God's not playing with us either.
Right.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? So He will show you if you ask for Him. Will show you. So I basically go on the basics. I let them talk because that's another thing. When it comes to atheists, half of the time they just want to be heard. Yeah. Because the reason they become an atheist is because somebody hurt me, somebody did, and I lost hope in a God.
Like a type of trauma.
Exactly.
Always.
So that's kind of like where if you can listen to an atheist talk about something that you know is real and that you fall in love with, if you can get past that grit where you're gonna be like, he's talking about my Jesus. If you can get past that and just listen, like the same way you guys are listening to me right now.
That's right.
And see what they have to say. I 110%. I'm not even gonna say 99.9% of the time. I promise you 110%, God is gonna give you the answer. Whatever Bible verse you read when you was in the 6th grade and VBS, that correlates to what
He'll bring it
wherever
back.
that conversation happened, He will bring it back to you and be like, hey, say this for me, please.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like I can't even tell you my format because of the fact that it's so situational, because half of the time, how many people have stopped believing in God because somebody didn't listen to them?
Right.
That's the key.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then they were too busy.
We want to talk so much, we forget to listen.
Exactly.
So you also understand the demographic of an atheist. Yeah. So that helps you because you understand that their characteristic, their character traits are that they like facts.
You want to know something crazy? In my school, in Lancaster Bible College, there was an atheist attending that school.
What?
Hold on. They were taking Bible classes, but they classified themselves as an atheist.
Just because it was like a cheapest, it was the best situation for them. It was a school close to them.
I'm curious to know if they're Christian now. Or
They are. They are.
What?
And it was crazy. And it was crazy because for me, I don't want to say it was the same thing, but for me, I went into college dragging my feet.
I see.
I want to go. I wanted to play D1. Mind you, I wasn't good enough. I was not good enough whatsoever.
No, but that's the dream of a ball player.
Exactly.
You coming up and you play ball.
Exactly. Because when I played against real D1 players, I'm like, hey, you got it.
That's the story. That's true,
like, yeah.
Bendiciones ahí. I did that once, and it was not a good idea. Especially, you got to remember, I'm half his height. I could play, but I'm half his height. So I tried that once, and that wasn't good. But anyway.
But it's like when I was there, I was dragging my feet.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
But then by the end of my college, my college career, even mind you, like when I was there, the college itself, they kind of screwed me over, with some they said I was good to excuse some classes, and then right before graduation, they were like, oh, you got to take these classes.
Oh,
so then I had to delay graduation. But at the end of the day, by then, God blessed me with that wisdom where, hey, I can be glorifying God through this trial, through this process. So it's crazy because like in the beginning, I don't want to say I hated that school. Hate's a strong word, but I was really struggling to even want to stay.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? And then by the end, with all the Bible, all the classes that I took, and just the amazing professors that I had, it changed my life. So I had a one professor, and he had a evangelism class, and he taught me Romans Road. So Romans Road is Romans 3:23, Romans 6:23, Romans 5:8, and Romans chapter 10, verse 9 through 10. That is everything you need to explain to somebody how to seek salvation.
Ooh, okay. I love it.
Okay.
So Romans 3:23, for all have fallen short of the glory of God.
Yes.
Simple. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Yep.
Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is everlasting life through Christ.
Yep.
The Romans chapter 5, verse 8. For Christ demonstrates his own love towards us, that while we were still sinners, Christ died on the cross for us. And then Romans chapter 10, verse 9 through 10.
Love that one.
If you believe unto righteousness and confess with your mouth that Christ raised from the dead, then you shall be saved.
That's right.
So it's like, that's everything I need.
The conditions for salvation.
Exactly. That's everything I need. So he taught me that, and then he taught me that,
good.
And he gave me that to when I was trying to explain to him how I have a cousin, who served Christ, who was strong in the church, and now he's a third eye believer. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, how can I go back? And he was like, just remind him of this. He knows it, but remind him of it. And then half of the time when I have these conversations, he tells me all the time, he's like, yo, I never thought you would ever become one of the people in our family. Mind you, I have a very, 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 I don't want to say religious family, but very spiritual family. Like I'll go get to it in a second. But he would say, he just said, you're the only person that I've one of our family members. Like, you're one of the few that I could sit down and actually talk to and still feel loved.
Wow.
And that hit me. And I was like, why? And he was like, it's because you listened to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that changed. You know what I'm saying?
We miss that so often, bro.
Exactly. It like that hurt me. But at the same time, I know there's confusion on both ends.
Yeah, exactly.
There has to be accountability on both ends.
Usually is, yeah.
So it's like, it's never one side. When it comes to unless you're in a really, really bad church, it can never be one-sided.
But we see that often in our culture, bro, coming up Pentecostals, know, and obviously, you're younger than me, but that was one of the things that I talked about a lot when we started doing these pods, is the trauma that comes with the conditioning of religion.
Absolutely.
Because early on, you believe what you hear and what you see. So if you're around an environment that tells you, for example, a lot of people become drug addicts because they're around an environment of drug addicts.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, like I was raised around the projects in Brooklyn. He was raised in the projects
in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when you're raised in those type of environments, you start thinking that thugging, that stealing, that trapping, that's the way of life, right? And we were blessed that God called us from an early age, right? That he had a plan for our lives, and that it was to give us great hope and a future. Because if not, we would have succumbed to our environment. And in church, it's no different.
Yeah.
A lot of these people coming up, I could tell you from experience, sometimes they carry that trauma that church teaches them early on into how they teach, how they preach, how they go about the gospel. And it has nothing to do with scripture, bro. It's all dogmas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And you've seen that. And it's crazy that you've seen that because you're a generation below. Before. So I would think that by now they washed that away. Like we're kind of swimming away from that water. But it sounds like you still seen it.
Well, can I tell you why?
Go for it, bro. Go for it.
So, again, back to the demographic.
Yeah.
How many of us have a grandmother or great-grandmother that used to be Catholic?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Most of my people in DR is Catholic, bro.
Exactly.
Facts.
So you got to think about it. Look how they serve God. You know what I'm saying? Confession.
Yeah.
Like very, very strict. And again, back in the day, that's how it used to be.
Legalistic,
Exactly. In DR, especially, like, it was very rare from the demographic and the stuff that I was studying. Like, El Tiempo de Trujillo, imagínate. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was
still talks about that.
Exactly. Like,
that's
they
an old
was
school dictator, president of the Dominican Republic.
So it's like when I think about that, I'm like, a majority of these people at the time was Catholic. And the same way how we're having a youth revival as of right now in our generation, like, yo, the Bible's the #1 book being sold. And you know what's crazy? If you go into the amount of Bibles that are being sold, it's the teen Bibles or the youth Bibles or the study Bibles. Those are the ones that are being sold the most. Not just in the regular KJV. No, it's the NKJVs, the ECS, the CSBs, the NLTs.
NLT,
they're all like like being sold at vast numbers because that's what the youth are reading.
That's right.
So it's like
revival.
So what that's telling me, our parents, our great grandparents, whatever it may be, when they found Christ the right way, not the Catholic way. Yeah. Because there's many people who are going to tell you that Catholicism, Christianity. No.
Okay.
Exactly. So, no.
I like that you said that.
Exactly. No. So when they found Christ for who Christ was, they said, okay, I'm going to serve Christ how I know how to serve Christ underneath these 4 walls, which is church. Because in church, I had to dress like this. And when I was Catholic, in church, I had to look like this when I was Catholic. In church. So they brought that over. And then the second generation was born. And then it kind of denses down. It always denses down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always
it gets watered down a little bit more and more, you know, as the generations go by.
So it's like, it's definitely now at a level where it's tolerable. But I understand where people might have trauma or people might have been scarred because of the fact it was intolerable at one point. Yeah. Because it's not necessarily nobody didn't understand how to serve God without those dogmas or without those, you know, that doctrine. Yeah. It was that everybody was kind of too scared to. Because one thing I talk about all the time, like me, I know I can't. Like when it's time for me to get married and have my significant other, I know it can't be somebody who was raised in the church like me. You know why?
Ooh, hold up, explain that.
So check this out. This is how deep I think. Like, and I'm not trying to boost myself, but like I try to think as much outside of the box. But it's like, for example,
you single for the viewers out? You single, bro? Oh, you call what we doing right now?
I'm protecting my blessing. That's what I'm gonna say. Hey. I'm protecting my blessing. So when I say this, I say this because, like, for example, me growing up in the church as a pastor's kid in the ministry, I know what it feels like and I know what it looks like to just be used to it. But then if you give me somebody who gave their life to Christ recently, they know what it feels like to live without it.
Yes, I love that.
And they're gonna be like, I can't live life without this. Yes. Whereas me, I don't know what life is without Jesus.
Yeah. Amen.
So my nature is kind of like, let's check it out. Yeah, let's check what the devil has for us. And I know that's very dark, but that's what it is.
No, but a lot of people have that faith.
No, that's real. They just don't talk about
it. So it's like, let's check what this is. Let's check this club out. Or let's check, jugando domino con tu amigo y yendo presidente instead of going to church. You know what I'm saying? Like, something corny.
Speak your truth,
you know what I'm saying?
But that's the truth.
But then let you get somebody who knows what that life is like. It's like, you're coming to church with me.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I go with someone who was raised in the church, I'm not saying that everybody's like this. No, absolutely not. But a majority of the time, they're gonna like, hey, let's check this out.
Because humans want what they can't have.
Exactly.
And the problem is that if all they've had is Christ, they're gonna be naturally curious. Their flesh is gonna pull, right? But if somebody's only had the world, as soon as they get a taste of the gift, they don't want nothing else.
Yeah. So it's like, for me as my partner, I would need somebody who can balance that. Yeah. Because at the same time, I know I'm going to be balancing her because she's going to come in with all these dogmas saying, yo, I failed God so much. I got to be like this. And she's going to go, like pedal to the metal and be super raja. And I'm going to be like, like chill. Yeah. You could wear jeans with rips. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's a balance. It's a balance. So I've always noticed that. I'm like, yo, I can't. And in reality, like in all of my past relationships, it never worked out because those were the kind of people I was with, people who were raised up in the church. You know what I'm saying? But then and I will say this, it's humbling because it's very easy for me to be in a relationship with somebody who knew what it's like to not know God, and to just yap over them. Because it's, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like I could just easily be like, oh yeah, but you don't know this yet. Let me put you on. You don't know this yet. But then again, like I was saying, how am I listening to that significant person? Yeah. Am I listening to someone they're gonna be like, okay, this is what I feel. Can you then give me what what the Lord is telling you to give me? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's not necessarily in like marriage, but also in just in friendships. I've noticed now all of my friends now, because like compared to all the friends I had before growing up, they're completely different. And they're all, and it's crazy. They're all people who don't believe in God.
Wow.
You know
usually
what I'm saying?
How it is. Usually how it is, bro.
But the ones that, hey, yo, you used to cuss when you played basketball, are now the ones, hey, yo, so what's a relationship with Jesus? Because my mom grew up Catholic, so can you explain it to me? And I'll be like, all right, and I break it down for them. You know what I'm saying? So, and I noticed that is, and I say this very lightly, but everybody in my family knows it. You know, I have a pastoral calling. And listen, if you go to a church,
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna put you on game. Okay, if you go to a church and that person says, "I always wanted to be a pastor,"
no, that's
that
not
person wasn't called by God.
Wow.
That person was not called.
I'm hearing that a lot. I've been hearing that a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
Everybody who is a pastor,
I wanted to be an astronaut.
Oh, sweat.
Everybody who becomes a pastor, whether it's a youth, even a youth leader, they didn't ask for it.
Yep.
God bestowed that over them. So I'm noticing now, all the people who I thought were supposed to be my friends because they were in ministry also. But then the people who God wants me, but the people who God wants me to care for and be cared by, are the ones who they don't even know what it's like to be inside of a church.
But your circle changes when Christ calls you to something.
Absolutely.
Sometimes your circle has to change because the person that you are shifts. It's the transformation of the mind that Paul talks about.
Absolutely.
The transformation of the mind happens in the circle. Like the circumstance doesn't change. It's you who changes.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like for you, I remember seeing that shift. It was funny because when you were younger coming up, when your focus, as you said, was ball, right? You were hot-headed. You were cursing up a storm. You were aggressive. And then I remember it was like a 1.5-year time frame. I think it was when I left to Florida because I was living in Florida for like 2 years that I didn't see you because obviously I wasn't going to the gym. And then when I saw you, I saw a different person, bro.
Yeah.
I saw a different reaction. I remember we played a couple games. You used to get mad when people used to get calls and you thought the calls were nonsense and you used to argue and you used to not want to give the ball until you got your way or let's shoot it out, da-da-da.
Yeah.
And my guy was like, all right, here you go, bro. We don't got to argue. Your ball.
Wow.
That in itself, it may be a subtle, simple thing to any random person.
You knew him, so you
but
understand.
when you've seen somebody, and again, I'm a lot older than him, but when you've seen somebody act a certain type of way, right? And a shift like that happens. Now you understand kind of the foundations that he has from a Christian household, being a PK, right? But he basically was completely from a responsive standpoint to his surroundings, he was completely different than what the testimony that his parents and his family was given.
Yeah. Right.
And so when you see him kind of swing that direction, you know that God had to have done something in his life.
Yeah, of course.
There had to have been a dream. There had to have been, and that's where I want to go. Like, when did that shift happen? What was it that caused you to turn away from all of that who you were, who everybody knew you to be, who your friends were comfortable being around? What was that moment, bro, when it shifted, when you said, you know what? I surrender. I give it all up.
It definitely came in steps. It didn't all happen at once.
Wow. Interesting.
Because, for example, you look at David, you know,
Oof,
it took steps for him to be king, and then from king, it took steps for him to be somebody who was a man after God's own heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't all happen overnight. For me, it was like I always felt like I was the black sheep because my sister, amazing worshiper, amazing preacher on the low. People don't know that. She's crazy preacher.
She has an album, by the way. I've heard one of her albums.
Oh, really? Yeah. She's working on the album.
So she's
an
artist.
She has a song. She has
wow.
amazing song.
I heard her like 5-6 songs. I thought the album was out.
No, that could have been no, that wasn't Sardis either. But yeah, here I'll break down my family tree.
Yeah.
My family tree is kind of weird. So my father's mother and my mother's parents, pastors.
Wow.
So I'm one of the few that you would meet as a third generation pastor's kid.
I see.
So then parents, pastors.
Ooh.
Aunts and uncles on both sides, pastors.
Get out.
Then I got and then now like when I go into my cousins and my siblings and stuff like that, if anybody, you know, is Dominican that watches the podcast, so my aunt, her name is Melo. Okay, her daughter is Sardis Melo, or Sardis Piña Melo. So she's also another worshiper. Okay. Then I have a cousin, his name was Misa Melo. He was a part of Fort Trinity. That's way back when. That's an old rap group.
Oh, okay.
We're not gonna get into that. And then so like, you know, they were like, that was kind of like what I was seeing growing up. You know what I'm saying?
You in a pastoral line.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I'm just the third generation. You know what I'm saying? Like so then it plops onto me. Yeah. I know all of that, and I don't want any of that. I just wanted to be harvest. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like now I get older, you know, I'm blessed because God has shown me you could be you and still do what I want you to do.
I love that.
You know, so with all of that on top of me, I definitely had a lot of pressure because my dad's like, yo, you were an example, you don't even know it. So it's like, so then, and as I got older, I noticed like, you know, some of it wasn't necessarily kids around me or like, you know, my age. It was even some of the older ones. I'll do something, they'll follow it the next week. You know, I go to church wearing turtlenecks with my chain out. By the end of the month, I got people in church coming to church dressed up in a turtleneck and the chains out.
That's
You know?
a cloud of witnesses that the scriptures talk about, bro.
So it's like,
especially with the youth.
Exactly. So it's like when I seen that, I was like, okay. And a big part about it, and it's crazy, I'm actually going to be teaching my Bible study about it now at my church. A big part about it was not necessarily finding my identity in myself, but finding my identity in Christ.
Oh my!
You know what I'm saying? Because the moment you find your identity in Christ, then everything else follows.
That's right.
It's not necessarily having to surrender, because anybody could surrender and still fail. And keep failing, and keep failing, and keep failing. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. Yeah.
But the moment because when you find your identity in Christ, you are now building your church, building yourself around that rock.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And then everything else follows. So
David
now you
failed a lot of times too.
Exactly.
You that are listening, we just talked about this on Wednesday. So you see the line of thinking that God is putting in our hearts right here. This is God's work. I'm telling you. I told you guys, your identity is found in Christ, not in anybody else. Stop comparing yourself to people. Anybody that's listening, stop comparing yourself to people. Comparison is the killer of your purpose.
Yeah.
It will kill your purpose. Whatever God has for you, the moment you compare yourself to somebody else, that God did something different for them, that's it, you're done.
The thief of joy is comparison.
It's comparison.
Yes,
I love it.
And when I think about it too, is because that's another good thing though that my dad told me, because my dad raised me enough to not compare myself to other people, but to take things from everybody and learn from everybody.
That's right.
So like, for example, like growing up with you, playing basketball with you, didn't matter how tall you were, didn't matter how, you know, how stocky you might have been or whatever, he always had a quick first step. So I always knew,
that's
but
the
he
only
couldn't
thing
shoot.
I got.
He couldn't shoot. So I knew I had to sag off of him. You know what I'm saying? But then, best believe, he doesn't notice while he was up on the other side of the court, I was watching how quick he was getting by other people.
That's funny.
You know what I'm saying? That was like one of the biggest blessings my dad ever taught me. It was like, yo, how to learn from other people. And then moving forward, how to apply the good things, because at the end of the day, we're all gonna fail. At the end of the day, we all got something bad.
Bro.
That's right.
I can learn from David, but at the end of the day, he was an adulterer.
Yeah.
I can learn from Solomon, but at the end of the day, he ended his life following witchcraft. So it's like as much as I can go into depth on how many people from the Bible I want to be like and this and that, at the end of the day, they all failed too.
That's right, man.
So I gotta take positivity from everything, and then I gotta take their lessons as something not to do.
That's right.
But best believe somebody in the next generation is gonna see me, see the good and the bad in me.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, this is how I'm gonna excel moving forward.
The book of Cesar Chavez Melo is being created today. It's being created.
Hey.
We all got a book. You know how there's First Peter,
Yeah.
there's First Timothy, right? There's like you have people with books, Malachi, Old Testament. Like, you got all of these people with books, bro. Our books are being written in this generation, in this time.
Absolutely. But
That's what you're talking about.
But I'm gonna be completely honest. As long as my name is written in that book of life,
That's right. That's
what
all that
matters, right?
matters.
I'm fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
right.
I can be chilling, yo.
Jesus.
And I'm glad,
Please.
you're saying that as if you're not 100% sure. You know why? Because
who
a lot of
supposed to
Christians,
be.
we're not supposed to be. A lot of Christians believe they know.
Yeah.
We don't.
What's that one African
scary
pastor?
thought, though.
What's that one African pastor? He goes, if you die.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, what I said.
viral dude.
Yeah.
The viral dude, bro.
If you die,
And you go to heaven.
He's the
You
one
do
that
not
showed me
see me
that.
there. You are in hell.
Yo, that drive me dead.
I showed it to me. That's good.
Yo, my dad, I showed that to my pops, and he was like, that's the confidence I want in life. I was like, hey,
And
that
he
guy
was
definitely got
convicted
it.
saying it, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he was looking straight at it.
Yeah.
If you do not see me there, you're in hell.
Yeah. Yo. So it's like stuff like that. I see that. I'm like, hey,
hold
proud of you,
Yeah,
bro. But
yeah.
me, I'm always going to question. You know what I'm saying?
That's good stuff.
As we should. Even Paul questioned, right?
Exactly.
You know, he was going to run the race. He says, I didn't even claim to have attained this.
Yep.
Right? I'm not going to say that I have already attained the resurrection.
The hope.
But I have the hope to keep pressing forward.
And I would even say that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned regarding evangelism, because, yo, like, and I say this to all the churches, and it was crazy because one lady, she prophesied to me when I was in Atlanta, and she told me, she was like, God is telling you to go to these churches. It doesn't matter how young you are. but the message you have from the experience you have is a lot older and a lot more powerful than some of these other evangelists. And I was like, she told me that, and I said, wow. But it's crazy because the way I started I start every message is I tell people, I say, hey, I'm a nobody. I'm nothing. And then I always pick up my Bible and I go, but this makes me something.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I explained that. And I explained that early on because at the end of the day, God can smite me right now, and he can lift up an evangelist who looks like me, who talks like me, who moves like me, and have him be 100 times better than me.
That's right, because the purpose is always going to be there.
Exactly.
God's purpose is always his will always...
And he will see it to completion as well.
It will always happen.
So who am I to be like Saul and take the blessing for my own glorification?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's
I know
when we lose God's presence in our life.
So it's like I know what it feels like to think I got it. I don't got it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
amazing,
I don't. So it's
That's
like
humility.
so she gave me that message or that prophecy, excuse me. And what's crazy was right before she gave me that and you guys are a part of it too, but that pastor, he preached about my name. And because my name comes from 1 Chronicles chapter 4 verse 9 and 10, I think I want to say. Yeah, I always forget it. I mean, that's the one I grew up off of. So I heard it a million times, but it's the prayer of Havis and how he was born into pain and his mother named him Havis, which means pain in Hebrew, because of the fact that she bore him in pain, but he didn't want to be somebody who brought pain. He asked God to bless him. And then God says, I will bless you and I will enlarge your territory. So that's where my name comes from. And it was crazy because I talk about it in the preaching from Atlanta, and I tell them, I'm like, yo, or he talks about my name and stuff like that. And then I tell them, I was like, you know what's crazy? I started my ministry. The first church I preached at this year, beside my own, was in February in Atlanta. All I did was give a word. Then from Atlanta, I went to Spain. From Spain, I went back to Atlanta. And then I also did some churches here, like, local, Reading and Lancaster and stuff like that. And God would move tremendously. Like, I don't even feel like I deserved it. And he just moved. Yeah. And what was crazy was when he was giving me that word, it kind of like clicked. And I said, God, this is my first year in the ministry. How many people do you know preached in multiple states, but not only that, outside of the country
that's crazy.
in their first year? I said, this is a blessing. Like, I can't take this for granted. Yeah. And then when he brings up my name, it was kind of like the cherry on top. And he goes, and I'm like, yo, God, these churches aren't like the churches my dad grew up preaching at. my mom would preach at. My sister was going to. Like, all these churches are different. Like the church in Atlanta, they told me I'm one of 2 evangelists they've ever invited.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
So when I hear that, I'm like, yo, what?
That's crazy.
And then I realized in the click, God was enlarging my territory just by me being invited to be able to preach there.
Of course.
And then what was crazy to me also is, like, I think about it, I'm like, yo, these are my first years. Like, and you guys are a part of it too. You guys are my first year. The people who took time to say, hey, I want you here. I want to check you out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna take that for granted. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna be like, oh, hey, I'm booked. This other church invited me and they're in Japan, but then, Renee wants to talk to me. No, I'm gonna go be with Renee because, he's part of that first fruit.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So who am I to turn my back on my first fruit?
Wow.
That's what I always say.
Exactly. Wow.
So, because at the end of the day, like, every forest comes from the same tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, if I chop down the first tree, everything else is gonna follow.
That's right.
So I always tell people that, I'm like, and I always think about that. I'm just like, yo, like, that was this year has just been a year of me giving God his first fruit from what he's blessing me with. And then 2026, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, bro. But how has that been this year though? Because
it's been crazy.
It's been all over. I've seen you from going. I remember talking to you in that concert, and I know you were still going to school in LBC. And from then till now, like you said, God has enlarged your territory.
Absolutely.
But I've seen what God's done in your life just from the outside looking in, from afar. And it's shocking to me, bro. It's shocking to me because, again, I remember you growing up and I never envisioned, maybe it's poor me, ye of little faith. But I never envisioned God
I ain't believe it either.
You see? So you get me then, bro. It's not just me, I guess. But now seeing what God is doing in your life is something, it's special, bro.
Absolutely.
And it's not everybody, like you said, that has that privilege. I know evangelists for years. I've been in this walk for 22 years.
Yeah.
As I always say. And so in my years, I haven't seen God move in people's life at this speed, at this rate of speed.
Absolutely.
So how do you keep yourself grounded? How do you keep yourself humble? how do you continue to walk in grace? Because that's what I'm seeing from you, bro. Grace. How do you do it?
First, you gotta remind yourself that it's not you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And the best thing I have about it is the fact that I got a dad and a mom in the same household. And then una vez, if I'm doing something wrong, they're gonna let me know.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. At any given point, if I talk, like I joke around about them all the time, I'm gonna be like, yo, I wanna be like so strong that I just raise my hand and people fall in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And I joke around about that because I'm in the gym. Like, and my dad's like, hey, why don't you go fast and let's see who's gonna be really strong? I'm like, all right. So, and it's just like that, like we joke around and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, like they really keep me grounded. And I know that what they placed over me, because like my dad has been in many positions where he could puff up his chest and talk his ish.
Yeah.
And same with my mom, and my dad's like, no, because I know this could all be taken away. Like
at any time.
My prayer of 2025 was crazy, which I started the year because I was learning, because I was, getting ready to leave college and stuff like that. So I had to, I really had to like dive into financial stability and stuff like that. And my dad said, start this prayer if you're going to start this year off. God, allow me to learn how to live in the abundance.
Oh.
So then I think about that.
Wow.
So then I'm thinking my abundance this year was going to come from finances.
Right.
And it didn't really. Like, I mean, I got a new job, glory to God. I started my career. So, but like at the end of the day, money's money. But then I'm looking at the spiritual abundance that he placed over me. And I'm like, oh, shoot.
Which is bigger.
So then So then I'm like, now I'm really learning how to live with this calling.
This is the abundance.
Exactly. This is what it's about. Because it was funny, like I go to Atlanta and the youth weren't ready for me. They think and it's not like, I'm better than them. No, it was like I got there and they're used to the evangelists that all they do is run to the hotel, stay there, and then when it's time to preach, they get picked up, they go give a word, and then run back to the hotel and do whatever they gotta do. Whereas me, after the service, I'm like, hey, where are we going out to eat? You know what I'm saying? And then after that, I'm like, hey, yo, you guys got like Top Golf, son? Yo, you guys want to go chill? Like, and they're like, and it's 11 o'clock, and they're like this, and I'm like accelerated. I'm ready to go and stuff like that because that's how I was raised. Because at the end of the day, the moment I step off from the altar, I'm still a Harvest. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still a kid who's excited to be in a different city.
That's right.
I'm with people who serve Christ also. So we're not going clubbing. We're not going. We're like, it's just a community of people who love God, having fun. You know what I'm saying? So my mom told me, she was like, you don't understand. That's like the biggest difference from a lot of these preachers. Because at the end of the service, I sat and talked with everybody. Right. I went until the church lights were off.
You don't put yourself in a spiritual rank above these people where you create a line of division between you and those people and the youth and the people that feel like, you're given a good word and that they always believe that there's this separation or this, what is the word that you say? That proximity.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Where that they feel like they're not worthy to be able to talk to somebody like you or have a relationship with somebody like you, that when you knelt down and said, we're the same, in the same way Christ did with all of his disciples, you start to see real fruit.
Absolutely.
Yes. You see what I'm saying?
But that's because the pulpit it creates two type of people, bro. The pulpits create either a monster or a servant.
Wow.
That's what the pulpits create. He allowed God to make him a servant.
That's right.
Because that's the greatest calling that we can leave the pulpits. We can leave pastoral ministries, evangelism. We could stop being teachers. Yeah. We could stop prophesying. But we will never stop serving because that's what we were called to do until the end of our time in this earth. Yeah. And we don't remember that when all of that is stripped from us, we still are supposed to serve, then we're really not serving our God, the God we talk about and profess. Yeah. And praise God that you've understood that, bro. Because a lot of people, as soon as they have those type of opportunities in the pulpit, it's about the Mike Todd show.
Yo.
right. It's about
where the trampolines at, bro?
Right. Let me make it about me. What's the other one? That's another one that's pulling those same type of stunts.
Ooh. I don't know about it.
I lost the guy's name. My memory's failing.
Somebody else is doing that.
But the point is that a lot of these people have these opportunities and they start just like you. Sometimes it's accelerated. But that's why we've talked about this frequently, and I say that to my youth because we're youth pastors, we're youth leaders or whatnot. And I say it to them. It's like 40, 50 of them. And I'm like, you got to be cautious because if you ask something from God and he gives it to you too early, where you haven't been molded into the character to attain it, it becomes a curse and not a blessing.
Exactly.
So sometimes what God is not giving you in your life at that time, at that moment,
it's a blessing.
It's a blessing, bro, because he knows you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want you to get lost. Solomon asked for something that even God commanded him for what's your first ask as a king? And he said, I want wisdom. And God gave it to him. But as you mentioned a little earlier, truly Solomon at that age, with all that wisdom, all the finances that came his way, all the provision, he wasn't ready for it. His character wasn't built up yet, bro.
Exactly.
So he had the power, he had the resources, he had the flair, and he was out there taking people from other territories and infiltrating our place, Israel's place, with their gods. Right? And bringing pagan worship into the land.
Absolutely.
He was doing that because his character wasn't ready to receive the wisdom that God placed in his hands. Because he was the wisest and richest man to ever live.
I love thinking about Solomon too, because I'm like, yo, what was going through your head? You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
It's like, because he had all that wisdom, he had all that facts, all that information. And it's like even me with college now, and you know, like my cousins say all the time when we do Bible studies, like, this is Harvest. You got people who are the unqualified who God qualifies. Well, he's the qualified. And he jokes around about it, you know, because in my family and stuff like that, like, I'm the only one who not only has a business degree, but has a theology degree. So it's like, so they kind of see that it is a blessing, you know, but they kind of see that, like, hey,
and it's credentials.
Exactly.
It is, bro. Call it what it is.
You need it, but at the end of the day, it's just hard facts. It's the same thing as me having a history degree. Like, it's honestly the same.
Correct.
The only difference is, how do I view the Word of God? And to piggyback off of what you're saying, it's like with Solomon, it's like, yo, he had all of that, right? But you know what's different between Solomon and David? David, when he received the Ark of the Covenant back, what did he do?
I mean, I forgot, bro.
He stripped himself of his royal garments and he danced. And he celebrated.
I do remember now.
And he rejoiced.
I do remember now.
Because him glorifying God, him being thankful that God blessed him with the assets to be able to receive where his glory was at.
Yes.
That's good.
And bring it back home was more important
a good refresher.
than him being a king.
That's a good refresher.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my favorite part of that story. He took off his royal garments. Why did he have to do that?
Yes, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
It's humility. It's humility.
And
it's showing who it is.
And you got Solomon.
That holds it all,
You got Solomon that he had wisdom, but what is wisdom without humility?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And if you just get wisdom, and Solomon's the prime example of that. If you just get wisdom, boom, here's wisdom. Toma. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But then without being given wisdom, piece by piece, kind of like how you saw me growing up, like you would leave and then come back, leave and come back, and then you see me. That wisdom also came humility.
They're mutually exclusive things.
Exactly.
They're not actually, people think that humility, if you're wise, you'll be humble. No, not necessarily the case. There's a lot of people are wise. And a lot of the most wisest people are atheists.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily, and that's why a lot of times some of the most educated people with degrees are always the ones who are skeptical of God.
Absolutely.
See, because wisdom can come, it's given by God, but not everybody recognizes that it's given by God. And without a person to direct their wisdom to, you're wise, but with no purpose. And so you don't truly have an understanding. You see what I'm saying? Of what that, it's like having all this knowledge, it becomes a curse. Like,
there's a scripture in Proverbs that talked about that. Bro.
Yeah. Which one is it?
It's a scripture in Proverbs. I forgot exactly.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
But it speaks about basically too much wisdom or being wise in your own eyes makes you a fool.
Makes you an actual fool, correct.
It actually makes you a fool, too much wisdom.
And then that's what happened to him.
Yes.
That's what happened to him.
So it was beginning to poison his mind.
Exactly.
He started thinking it was him.
Yes.
So he forgot about the blesser and focused on the blessing.
That's right.
And the crazy thing about that, too, is because, and I tell all my youth this, all right? If we're gonna correlate that, the contrast between David and Solomon, okay? You got courage, but then you also got, love and faith and a heart after God's own heart, over here. And then you got wisdom, and you got, kind of basically picking back off of, like, what Daddy did, pretty much. And you got all this wisdom, all this, wealth, and all this amazing stuff, and all these beautiful things going into fruition. But then you see how he dies. You know what I'm saying? In comparison to how David dies.
Right.
And what I love to think about it is, like, when I compare those two to evangelism, you know what I'm saying? I would rather be more like David, not because it's David, the giant slayer and all this stuff. I'd rather be more like David because at the end of the day, when his royal garments came off, he was still that kid who was in love with Jesus.
Right.
Or in love with God, excuse me.
That's right.
And then, so when I think about that, I tell people from the altar all the time, I tell my youth all the time, 90% of your relationship with God is outside of the church.
That's right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we say that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
But then that 10%, that's in church. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then when I think about that, I'm like, okay. So when I take off, when I get off of this microphone,
That's right.
what am I doing after?
Exactly.
When after I receive this glory from y'all too, you know what I'm saying?
No, vice versa. Chill out. Chill out, bro.
I'm gonna hit you with the Uno reverse, but but after I receive and y'all receive, it's what are we doing after this?
What are we doing after?
You know what I'm saying? This is only 10%.
What are we doing with this? Right?
So it's, and I feel like a lot of people turn the 10% into their 100%.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Because they think that's all it is.
Yeah.
They think that the 10% is all that it is.
Exactly. So it's like you gotta think about it. And
get back in frame. You can't be doing that.
But it's like, but then that's when we get into that religious cycle.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it's like when you idolize the 10% and not the 90%, because so many people want to talk to me like about like, yo, how like what caused that change? What caused that change? Hey, you don't know about the nights I cried on the side of my bed fighting with God. You know what I'm saying? People forget that we're allowed to provoke God.
This mic working, bro.
So you like
like what is going on here, bro?
But like people don't know. People see the glory, but they don't see the sacrifice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, bro.
People saw Abraham being the father of all fathers, you know, father of nations, but people don't see him, you know, almost killing his own son.
Yes.
And going through hell.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's like, bro.
And that's because the 10% that you're talking about, that 10%, God speaks in that 10%.
Exactly.
We react, and how we take that 10% and how we live our life is the 90%. You see what I'm saying? Because God is not talking every second of the day.
Absolutely.
He talks during the 10%, which is in church, and through your word and through your study. Right? But what are we going to do? We have to live our lives in the 90%.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
But the you know, culturally speaking, the reason why that hit to me, like what he did was a mic drop moment. That was the Obama moment that he did right there.
Obama moment. Hold up.
Oh, you don't know about that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember.
That was probably the thing that I remember the most about.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I didn't catch on to that.
The Obama moment this dude just had, bro. The reason why, to me, it starts painting pictures, bro. I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
And like, it's now as a youth leader, you know, I have a big responsibility with a lot of these kids that are going through things and they don't really know sometimes how to describe it, how to compartmentalize everything that's happening in their lives. But also with the adults, right? So we get so used to religion, right? And so in like a consistent church schedule, for example.
Yeah.
So we go to church on Wednesdays for Bible study, right? On Fridays, we're going to go for a service, a little service for the week. On Sunday, we have our main service. And so what happens is we get into a cycle. And we start believing that is enough to carry us in a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And so every Sunday, you see some of the same people, and I don't condemn this, but you see some of the, I'm a visual person, follow me here. Okay?
Yeah.
So many Sundays what you catch is, in our culture, he knows what I'm talking about. I know he's going to pick up on what I'm putting down. You see a lot of the same people coming up for prayer. A lot of the same people coming up and asking for deliverance.
Yeah.
But why are they doing that? They're doing that because they never spent time intimately with Christ.
Yeah.
They're relying on that 10%.
Yeah.
What does that remind you of?
Wow.
What's that remind you of? Well, what I said earlier.
No.
That's confession at that point.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's basically
the Catholic move.
The tradition of Catholicism.
Yeah.
Right? You believe that is enough for you to continue to go about this life where you're going to have trials, tribulation, when the enemy's going to try to take you out. You think that's enough. That 10%, it's not what we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
There is a formula to this, bro.
Exactly.
Prayer. Fasting and scriptures.
Yep.
Yes.
In church, you're going to get a 2-hour time slot. The modern churches are going to give you an hour time slot. And that's not enough for you to sustain credibility with God and for God to be able to say, I'm going to put my back in my Holy Spirit to combat and fight the battles that life is going to bring your way. It's not enough.
It's not enough spiritual food.
So what he's talking about, here's the problem, and then I'll swing it over back to whoever wants to say something. Here's the problem. That 90, and I dare to say 90 to 95% of believers today rely on the 10% and not the 90%.
And I'm gonna piggyback on this also because there's also a flip side to that coin though. So you gotta think about it. What's our body? Our body's
the
temple of the spirit,
right? Now check about this. If I go to the gym 7 days a week for 3 hours every single day and I work on the same body part, and I don't let it rest.
Oh, you're gonna be like this.
You know what I'm saying?
If it's just back,
exactly,
noodles.
But or if I go to the gym every single day and I do full body and I don't give myself a day of rest, I go, full core as hard as I can. What happened? My body's gonna break down, right?
Yes.
So what about those people who are asking pastor for the keys so they can stay at the church from Sunday to Sunday?
Oh.
But then they're still asking for the same miracles. They're asking for the same blessings.
Right.
They're asking for the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that's telling me? I'm like, yo, what are you doing
outside of here?
Outside that you're struggling so much that you're not receiving, because at the end of the day, God is gonna do whatever He wants to do, absolutely. Right. Mm-hmm. But then there is also that group of people like it just hits a point,
right?
And like if we want to go back to that church we were talking about, every Sunday there's a demon. You know what I'm saying? Like it just gets to a point where you're like, yo, like there's something you're not doing.
Yes.
Like you got to take accountability at this point because and it's like it doesn't matter how I've seen people fast for years, pray for years, read the word for years, and hear nothing from God.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hear nothing at all, see no change. And then they start blaming other people.
Yeah.
Or they start blaming themselves, or they start blaming God. But at the end of the day, it just kind of gets to a point. It's just like, yo, it's like you just gotta be, you just gotta thug it out. I know what it feels like to not hear God for a whole year.
Oh man,
and you know what I'm saying? And it's like for some people, like I haven't heard God in 6 years. Yeah, I'm. Power to you. But at the end of the day, time away from God. Yo, like, I know what it feels like for 1 year. So you tell me 6, I'm going to look at you like, yo, you that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I understood it took time for me. I had to do something. I had to go out my way. And it wasn't at church.
That's what it's never going to be there, yeah.
It wasn't in the 4 walls. It was on the side of my bed. It was sleeping in the basement because I wasn't worthy enough to sleep on the floor on my second floor. You know what I'm saying? It was fasting until I was literally skin and bone because I just didn't think I was even worthy for food.
Wow.
And mind you, and here's the thing, and this is to any other young viewers, you are allowed to not like something, okay?
Yes, fast.
Lord knows I do not like fasting whatsoever. I eat and eat and eat, but I do it because I love Him.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So that's my relationship with God.
Because it's necessary to have a relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. It's my relationship with God. I will read the word and pray however much He wants me to do. But you're going to sit here and tell me I got to fast? I'm going to be like, dang. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? For some people, it's easy and stuff like that. But like when I think about it, I'm just like, yo, there's 2 sides to that coin. But at the end of the day, it's like, at 90%, what are we doing?
Right. Because if you're going to the church and you're asking for prayer every single week, right, for example.
Yeah.
And it's the same things.
That's a common thing.
It's the same things. If you're going to confession, right, through Catholicism, and you're asking forgiveness for the same things, it means that you're only in the frame of mind of God when you're in church. Because you're still struggling with the same things when you're out of it.
That's right. So when's deliverance coming your way?
Not only that probably means you're probably only reading the same part of the Bible.
Oof. He's working out the same muscle.
Exactly.
He's working out the same muscle.
I don't want to laugh, but that stuff be... It's like, come on, bro.
It's like, hey, right now? There's a little bit more than, you know what I'm saying, like Deuteronomy and stuff. Like, hey, we can
Deuteronomy, though.
They stuck in the same boat.
Yeah,
exactly.
bro.
So,
wow.
Don't make time.
The legalistics.
And the scary thing about that, too, is because that's a habit the church as a whole can have. Like I said, I've seen churches like that. Like I tell people all the time, it's like, yo, I got like 3 big warnings when it comes to churches. It's like, one, if every Sunday there's a demon, that's a problem. Okay? If the pastors from the altar are out here putting family business outside.
No. So son unos chismosos.
Exactly. That's a problem.
And that's a fruit of the flesh.
A work of the flesh, yep.
And I've seen it happen, and you'd be surprised.
Oh, I know.
And the third is, if every single Sunday or every single special event, the pastor's kid is getting prayed over or a new revelation or something like that, that tells me right then and there, I'm like, okay, there's something wrong.
Oh, wow.
Because if you notice with these churches who do that, they invite the same people over and over and over again. So it's a cycle. You know what I'm saying? They know who they're going to go to.
I see.
And like they know who, when they lay their hands over, who's gonna have that cry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes it comes up for show. And me, when it comes to prophecy, I don't play around that. Because I remember one time I thought I was prophesying and I felt so stupid.
Wow.
Really?
And I never did it again.
That's
and
vulnerable to even say that, bro.
And no,
Most people won't admit.
Mind you, I was like 16, 17. So it's like, mind you, at the same time, 16, 17, I'm still 16, 17 years in the ministry.
Yeah.
But I think I understood.
Yeah.
That was my fault. And I looked so dumb. And that like marked me and I said, God, I'm never doing this again. And then I remember the one time I was literally preaching And look, I get chills when I talk about this. I was literally preaching and I closed my eyes. And when I opened them, I was already prophesying over somebody. I didn't even know what I was saying.
Oh, wow.
Like that. Like I'm talking about, I was preaching on the altar. I literally closed my eyes. I'm already down on the pulpit. I told the person to come up and I had my hand over their head. Like that.
With no memory of that.
Yeah.
That's when God really
I don't even know what I said. I don't even know what I said.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, God, I'm sorry. And he goes, and I remember that. And I'm praying and I just hear the voice of God, talking to them through my spirit. And he's like, don't you ever take away from what I have for these people again. Don't you ever get in between.
Don't limit him.
Exactly.
Don't limit him.
But it's not even that. I'm his vessel. When I'm on that altar, when I'm preaching, I'm his vessel.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, imagine if I'm a vessel and myself, I put a cap on top of what's pouring out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's facts.
So it's like, now I'm in the wrong.
Right.
So loud, don't you ever get in between on what I'm pouring out to these people.
Wow.
So I'm like, dang, okay, my fault. And then from there, God allowed me to do amazing, used me to do amazing things. And it's like, okay, this is awesome. But like that, I don't play around with that.
Yeah.
So when I go to some of these churches and I see that, and I see that's a natural habit, I'm like,
then you know that they're not committed to Christ the way that they profess they are. But bro, I want to ask you something though, because I don't want it to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're a young person though. You're committed to the ministry. Obviously, you just finished college. God is using you as an evangelist, traveling and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But bro, you're gonna tell me that the world has never called you? You've never had a temptation to go back? Nothing's ever tried to pull you? You don't have a vice? Like you don't have to speak out on it specifically, but I want you to maybe encourage somebody that is viewing out there, that is in this walk, right? And they hear about all the great things that God is doing in your life, but it's not all perfect. I'm pretty sure there are times when you maybe have wanted to give up.
Yeah.
There are times when maybe you wanted to go back. And those are the things that I feel like help the people that are stuck somewhere the most, when they hear how you persevere, even when you have those moments when you want to give up or turn back. Talk about that.
So, like, I'll be blunt honest, like, with me, my problem was, sexual immorality. You know what I'm saying?
It's a beast for being so
vulnerable. Yeah, bro.
It's a beast, bro.
No, but it's just, for me, like, it was something that, as Dominicans did, I don't even want to say naturally section because that's not an excuse.
It's cultural.
But no, but it's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. And it's
true. Yeah, just like the Greeks, bro, in the first century. They were naturally very sexual.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I actually learned that from him.
Yeah, but the Greeks was...
They were wild.
Yeah, they were wild.
Oh, yeah.
We think we bad.
Let's not even get into
details. Show that it can be cultural. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're right. But for me, it was okay, if I can defeat this giant, what I see as a giant, but I know that the defeat of that giant comes from God. If I could just rely on God to help me defeat this giant, I won. Because guess what came from me beating sexual immorality? Self-discipline. And if I could say, no, I'm not going to do that when I'm alone in my room, when I'm by myself, door locked, and I know I can get away with anything. If I could say no to that, then who am I to... what else is gonna come my way that I'm gonna say no to Jesus?
That's true.
You get what I'm saying?
That's good.
Because it's things because we could, like, people often forget about this. We can still fail in the presence of God.
Yes.
When nobody's around.
Right.
We can fail by ourselves. What's that one movie by Tyler Perry? I could do bad all by myself.
I
right?
can do bad all by myself.
But do we lose our salvation when we fail?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. You know why? Because God has mercy. God has grace.
That's right.
We have hope on that. So it's like,
because some people are so afraid.
Oh, absolutely.
To commit a sin because that's one of those mortal sins.
And those are the people who are getting prayed for every
that is in
Sunday.
Romans.
Every Sunday. Whoa. Sunday, Friday.
Yeah, bro.
I ain't saying no names.
That's in Romans. That says
people that view this, I know what I'm talking about. Trust me.
They won't make it to the kingdom, it says. Sexual immorality. People who fall under sexual immorality will not inherit the kingdom. So some people believe if they fall into sexual immorality after being saved, that they lose it.
No, but at the same time, it's okay. They lose it. They lose their salvation. Yada yada yada. Right. But then at the end of the day, are you losing it? And you're gonna be like, oh, I lost it. I lost salvation, so I'm gonna just keep doing it.
Ooh.
Let's keep going.
You know what I'm saying? Or you're gonna be like, God, forgive me. Let's work.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Heart.
Yes.
Exactly. It's just like, yo, let's work.
That's the key.
And then so that's where you got that I always I have that analogy. I don't know if you guys ever seen that cartoon. The guy, he's mining and he's like one thin layer
from the diamond. But he's been digging for 5 years.
Exactly. So it's like
he don't know it's one step away.
Exactly. So it's like you suffering. But then what if that diamond is your future wife who's gonna appreciate you, that you have the self-control, that you're not gonna be using her body in the marriage.
Right.
Because that's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
We could get into depth about that. So it's like there was a pastor that I met, his name is Miguel Bogat, changed my life. He said, I don't touch my wife when I know I gotta preach. When I'm preparing a sermon, I don't touch my wife.
Oh,
I said, hey, hat off to you.
Oh,
But
nah, bro. I cannot. I'm sorry. I don't have that level of discipline.
He preached about it. He
No.
was like, but at the same time, he's at a different level in his ministry, than I am. He's like, 30, 40 years into it. So I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I could get to that point,
bro.
And there's no excuse for him because he's Dominican. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so when I seen that, I was like, wow. And that was one of the things that really changed my life. And I was like, God, let's work.
Right.
Let's work.
Mm-hmm.
And do I still get those temptations? Absolutely. Do they still come loud as ever? Absolutely. I go to the gym. I go to a gym every single day. You know what's at a gym.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What's the Rabacuco? They always talking about licra y todo eso.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's what it's presented.
But that's everywhere.
Right.
But there was and to anybody who's struggling with sexual immorality or anything like that, there's a book called Every Man's Battle, and it changed my life.
Wow.
If you can go read that book, go read that book. It's a beautiful book.
Look it up and try to put it in the descriptions or
Yeah,
whatever.
That's not that we're
nice.
making money off of that book or anything. No, that's a book that I could genuinely be honest and say, that changed my life. And it was crazy because once I read that book, I started getting into business books. So it was like my self-discipline started from beating that demon that I now carry in my finances.
Wow.
I now carry, my relationships. I now carry, even in my ministry. Because it's crazy stuff like that. So it's like, so I definitely do get those callbacks. Hey, let's go play basketball. But I knew if I go play basketball, the only thing that's gonna be there, is just people screaming, people yelling, cussing, fighting, and all that stuff. So I'm like, hey, I might just not play with this group of people, because that might give me flashbacks of how I used to be, or hey, let me make sure I'm not the only the guy in this group that serves God.
That goes back to what we were talking about.
Accountability partner.
Yeah. Exactly.
We need those.
That goes back to what we were talking about being shrewd.
Absolutely.
Being shrewd and seeing what's ahead of you and seeing the path. And not hanging out with the same people you used to hang out with if that is going to cause you to think how you used to think.
Exactly.
Which
and
is
avoiding
difficult
that
because naturally, bro, sometimes how we grow up is naturally sometimes what we are inclined to do and want to act like.
Yeah.
Right? Like for me, it was cursing was smooth and easy for me.
Yeah.
Bro. Any single time, the N-word, the shut the F, all of these things were so smooth for me. Or if there was some type of conflict, it was always an aggressive tone, so things would elevate.
I mean,
natural,
not
bro.
against you. You're all from New York, so that is just
just
in your blood.
Sometimes
I think it becomes the
I
personality of the people that are from there.
But we can't let that be our define us or be our identity, as we were talking about earlier, bro.
Correct.
Just because I'm from New York doesn't mean that I have to continuously act this way. Because if not, I'm not accepting the freedom of Jesus.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm negating actually the sacrifice of Jesus if I continue to be the same person that I am. I haven't allowed the transformation to happen in my life. And that's the difficulty, bro. When you grow up around, like you said, Dominicans, for us, it's normal to have a wife at home and then go and have 2-3 others on the side.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
When we go to the gym, people that are, committed to that, he don't know that life. So but
I don't.
we know that life, and then especially for the last year and a half, that I know that life is difficult.
Yeah.
It's real, bro. Those temptations come up. And because it's cultural, because it's normal in our society and what we came around seeing, it could be easy to say, oh, well, I could indulge a little bit.
Exactly.
Let's have a conversation. It's no big deal. Let's have a smile. You help me with this set. Let me help you with this set. And then that can lead into a little something. Or if you hang out with the wrong people, right, you play those games like he was talking about. Next thing you know, you're getting into those arguments. The person is getting you out of your character. You want to prove your point, or they're basically punking you because now you're a mellow, pun intended, mellow type of individual. You're chilling, scaling back, and maybe because of that, now that person's trying you. Here's the temptation of the enemy. And now you have an opportunity potentially to fail God. So we take ourselves and remove ourselves from those positions, those environments. The best way to defeat sin is removing yourself from an environment that could put you there. A lot of people try to put themselves there because they feel like they're strong enough spiritually to just overcome. I think that's the wrong move and that's the wrong formula.
Well,
putting yourself in that.
And I'm sorry I keep bringing up scripture because I just
that's what we do.
What he just said, bro?
I feel like I'm going back and forth.
Bro, we gotta change this title right here. Hold on, we gotta. Whoa.
But if we can go back to David, he looked out the window, saw Bathsheba. How many times again did he go to the window?
How many times?
I'm saying we don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But if it led to that means he was going more than a couple times.
It could have been just the first
exactly.
time. Like,
yeah.
Shoot, Bathsheba, come on, baby.
He knew. He knew right after lunchtime. At like 12, 2:30, 2:35, Bathsheba was at the window, bathing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like he had the chance after the first time to close his eyes and walk away. And to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But he kept coming.
Which is what the scriptures call us to do. It says resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
And that's the thing. And you know what? Touching on that exactly, that's exactly what I believe sexual morality and all of the sins that keep you away from the kingdom. These are all what I call wars. Okay, the wars that don't end.
Absolutely.
Because really what we're dealing with is battles. Because every war has multiple battles.
Yep.
Okay, and sexual morality is a long war that we don't get to beat.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You're gonna come and win first battle.
A lot of people are not going to take that lightly. What?
Yeah, listen.
Or the transformative pastors that they have the tie so tight that you
you can beat sexual immorality. You
those
can
are the
conquer.
ones that say, if you haven't overcome, you're not in scripture.
Yeah,
enough.
no,
you're
I'm
not
sorry
praying enough.
And I'm sorry because those are the same dudes struggling with it.
Yeah.
Those are the people who say that they're the same. And you know what? It's okay because we all are struggling with certain things. Sexual immorality, especially in men, is the most common sin that people struggle with. And you're going to have 1,000 battles and you may lose 700 of them. And you may lose more than you win.
And let's emphasize on two things. One, sexual immorality is the worst sin because that's the quietest one.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And second off,
one people don't talk about.
And not only that, second off, sexual immorality has a false or a placebo effect.
Wow. What do you mean by that?
If I get married, I'm fine. If I can make it to marriage, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Yep. But then what happens when, you get married and then you still see yourself watching porn and then now your wife finds out and then now she's looking at herself saying, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough, right?
You know what I'm saying? It's you really got to think about it. It's like, who owns your eyes?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Do you own your eyes or does the devil own your eyes? Because at the end of the day, our senses are all could be utilized by the enemy.
Yeah, yeah, bro.
Am I choosing to listen? Am I choosing to see what he's showing me? Am I choosing to speak what he's telling me to say? Am I choosing, to walk where he wants me to go?
Right.
Even am I choosing to smell what he wants me to smell? Because I know people, they smell a thing of weed and then now, after 2 weeks, they're back to smoking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we could really get into depth about that.
the senses.
Exactly. So it's like, so how are we to set ourselves apart?
Yeah.
I noticed even at the gym, again, LA Fitness, the kind of guys that we used to work out with.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm talking about we'll be full court up and down. And then the moment a bad team walk by, everybody, dead ball.
Everybody standing at that glass
everybody
section.
Everybody
Gotta
stop.
see through.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's the community right now.
Crazy,
but then at the end of the day, we're supposed to be set apart.
How do we set ourselves apart?
You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
that's the question.
And what's crazy is because I feel like for me, that was kind of like not necessarily to undermine anybody, but for me, that was level 1. But then I realized the moment I was able to get through that, then the kind of people I was setting apart myself from, when people in the city or people in the street, it was easy now for me to set myself apart from them. Now I had to show myself how to set myself apart from people in the church.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so crazy.
Because it's
have to do that.
Because at the end of the day, if you got a pastoral calling, you got a lonely calling. And I wasn't ready for that. That's something I wasn't ready for, and God gave me that. So I had to pick it up quick.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if I want to be buddy with everything, what if I gotta convict somebody for something that they're doing wrong? But I thought you was my friend.
Oh, that's always.
And then we get into that conversation. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy was me growing up as a pastor kid, everybody wanted to convict the pastor's kid, but nobody wanted to receive the conviction from the pastor's kid.
We were just talking about that in one of our episodes. Yeah.
So it's like, then that hurt.
Right.
So then that hurt because I'm like, I'm reciprocating what you told me was love.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro.
Exactly.
And then now, what am I getting in return? Definitely not that. You know what I'm saying?
It's because Solomon said it. I mean, Solomon says that really the people who tell you what you like to hear are the ones who are the enemy.
Yep.
That's right.
Right? The ones who are willing to convict you and tell you what you're doing wrong are the ones who really love you.
Those are some of his wisest words.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's like people people like, they be scared to talk about church and stuff and happens. Like it happens in every church.
Yeah.
Like we can't run away from it. You're always gonna like churches are ran by humans. They're not meant to be perfect. They're meant to be there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're meant to just be available.
Yes.
Because guess what? You might have 99 people in that church doing wrong, but at least if you can get yourself to that one person, you're where God wants you to be.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen people filled with the Holy Spirit go to churches and that whole entire church changed and they weren't even the pastor.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because God uses anybody, anything and anyone.
And whatever the devil had in that church to kill that church, runs out. It's crazy. It's crazy. And God is just amazing when he does that. Because at the end of the day, he's coming for his bride. He's not going to come for his bride and just that one. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
No, he's coming for the bride.
His bride,
We are the believers of the bride.
I mean, listen, we're getting to the end here, so I wanted to throw it over to you again. Any final thoughts of encouragement for our viewers out there? We have a lot of youth that listen. I know most of the youth in my church listen to the pod. We have a lot of people that a lot of times ask for prayer,
Absolutely.
In regards to what they hear, that they're convicted by it. So what type of encouragement, what type of words can you finalize and take us out with for anybody out there that might be struggling with anything we talked about today?
Yeah, and specifically those people that are feeling condemned. Because a lot of the times because of that, those people are feeling condemned.
Thank you.
If I'm just thinking about 16-year-old, Melo, that what I wish I could hear. If you have passion for something, if it's in alignment with God, go after it, chase it. Like be ready to like be strongly about it, because there were so many times like people even now they see me with with basketball, and they were like, hey, it didn't go anywhere. No, it went somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because it gave me the discipline, and not only that, it gave me the opportunity to be able to communicate with the next generation.
Right.
So if you have passion for something, if you have a love for something, and it's in alignment with God, chase after with everything you got.
Don't be afraid. Yeah.
Don't be afraid at all. But the most important thing, make sure you're giving your all to Him, and just let everything else go. Like the amount of stuff I held on to, oh my God, and I wish I could just let it go. Just let go and this sounds so cliche. Let go, let God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it is true. Right. It is true. Because and then also on top of that, this is gonna sound also very corny. Go to the gym. I'm being serious.
No, tell him.
No,
please.
I'm being serious. We were talking about it. No, but we were talking about it in the beginning.
Talk some sense into this.
It's just like, so for example, it's, again, Hispanics, we growing up Pentecostal and stuff like that. It's like, if it got in front of God time, or if it got in front of church, or just like, you can't go.
That's it. You're
right.
But it's like, at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna tell that to the person who's clearly struggling with obesity, has all these health problems. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's time to work. The same way I might be struggling spiritually, guess what? That person might be super strong spiritually, but
and you can find God in everything, bro.
Exactly.
People don't realize that.
With all the guys that I train now, they make fun of me now. You know why? Because when they're hitting a set and they're lifting, they're struggling, I go, find God. Find God. I start screaming at them. I said, find God. Because I'm like, you're not going to hit this by yourself. So you better find God to help you pick this up. Because I'm not going to help you. So find God. And they start picking up on it. Yeah. And it's like, and God, mind you, I work out with a bunch of non-Christians. Yeah. And they're starting to now even pick up on it. Because you got to think about it. You got to be able to find God in everything. I tell people all the time, the gym is my church. The gym is my church, because I got a group of guys who are going to hold me accountable to make sure that what I hold them accountable to do, they're going to make sure I hold myself accountable.
Wow.
So, but that's a physical. That's like, the physical. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing, in the church. Like, but there's so many things that we, again, like me growing up, that I didn't realize, just being healthy, working out, prioritizing your health, how it has an impact on not only you, not only on your health, but on your relationship with God.
Right. Teaches you discipline. Exactly. What you need to have a strong relationship with God.
It's like we got to. It gets to a point. Because I can't be going to these churches preaching my butt off, and then I can't breathe by the end of the service.
That's it. 20 minutes in.
Yeah, exactly. I'm preaching sitting down. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it be, bro.
Yeah.
It's like he don't understand how this work, bro.
I wasn't there. You had to be there.
Exactly. To understand. So and that it's but they try to act like it's the spirit that's pulsing them, but it's really their stomach, their breath. That is. I'm telling you, bro.
And it's not only that though. It's like, for example, even parents, like if parents are watching this, or like, elders, like, the more physical fit you are, I'm telling you right now, the easier it is going to be able to communicate to the next generation.
Wow.
That's also true.
It's crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
Also true, bro.
Because like, yo, I wish like, you know, when I started turning 13, 14, I remember I'll be playing basketball with my dad and, you know, he'll set a screen and I'll brush it off. And he'll be like, hey, that kind of hurt a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like my boy getting strong, but hey, but you know what I'm saying? And now it's like, now I'll be trying to get my dad to log in the gym now and stuff like that. And he's been doing really well. And,
that's great.
But it's like, yo, like now I think about when I have my kids, you know, I want to be able to show my kids like, hey, yo, I could still serve God, but I could also still be fit. I could still be athletic. I could still be because I don't know why. I don't know if it was like the past generation. They view sports and athletic as like, you know, like a thing that's gonna take you away from God.
Yeah. But even
up like that.
Even Jehovah's Witnesses, it's like, hey, don't be a part of a professional team.
Exactly.
You know, because that's gonna take you away from God. But people don't realize, and which he said a couple times, is that you could find God in anything.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because God created everything.
Yep.
So why not find the way to see how God it fits in the picture?
Yep.
In that thing.
I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but
No, you're good, bro.
You're good.
Like prime example, and this happened in a gym. So I was at the gym with one of my friends, right? And we're working out, and a guy comes up and he presses him. He goes, "Yo, you don't remember me, right?" He's like, "Nah." He's laughing it off because he generally doesn't know the guy. I guess the guy got offended to him, you know, at a previous moment, but he like my boy didn't remember nothing.
I see.
You know, and he was like, "Yo," and the dude smacks him.
No way.
Oh,
And then,
whoa.
no, check
What
this
the
out.
heck?
Yo, crazy. Like he swings at him, and I just get it right in the middle. I'm like, whoa, we're not doing that here. And I start like talking. I'm like, yo, you gotta chill. And I already knew what it was. It's the devil. You know, devil speaking louder than, you know, what devil speaking louder in one ear than the ear that's supposed to be listening to God.
I see, yeah.
And I already knew what it is. And then, you know, my boy, he's hot. You know, I said, yo, chill. I'm calming him down, and I'm trying to calm this silverback gorilla of a guy.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? He was a big dude.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, chill. I'm like, chill, we're not doing this. Like, chill. We gotta be, you know, calm down. Mind you, all at the gym. And you know, me and my boy, we finished the workout. They leave. And then he leaves. And then I go, yo, you know what I think it is? Like, I feel it in my spirit. And mind you, my boy's not Christian. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yo, I feel it in my spirit. I feel like he's going through something. I don't know what's happening, but I know he's going through something. And he goes, yo, he was like, all right, yo, you know, you might be right, yada, yada, yada. And then he leaves, right? Mm-hmm. Then when he leaves, that guy who swung on him, he sees him leave. I walk over and he calls me over. He goes, yo, are you sure he's not that kind of guy that would disrespect me? I say, yo, that's blood. Like, that's family. Like, that's my boy. He wouldn't do that, you know? And then like, I kind of simmer the situation down. He goes, yo, like, he was like, yo, I'll shake your hand. I'm sorry that I did that to your man. And I told him, I said, yo, listen, it will mean more to me if next time you see him, you shaking your hand, you apologize. Because at the end of the day, we all men of God, and you wasn't supposed to act that way.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and I'm not gonna talk to you like no little brother or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, like, I gotta hold you accountable the way I would want you to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is stuff that would happen in church, but it's happening in the gym.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he goes, no, yo, you're right. He gave me a hug, you know, and like he dapped me up. Then I'm gonna hit my last workout, and then I literally hear the presence of God say, hey, you're gonna pray for him before he leaves. And I'm like, what the heck?
Wow.
And then I'm literally just hitting my set. It goes, hey, you're gonna pray for him before he leaves. Don't forget. Not go pray for him. Didn't even give me a response. You know, didn't give me a choice. I'm still working with that. You know, like when it comes to, you know, letting the spirit move me and like the prophesy and stuff like that. He was like, you're gonna pray for him before he leaves. And I just wait at the door, and I'm like, yo, what am I even doing waiting at the door? I just was gonna dap him up and let him leave. He goes, yo, again, I'm so sorry, brother. Yo, I'm just gonna ask, can you pray for me?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yo.
Like that.
That's wild.
Then I find out him and his man's is Muslim.
Yeah.
So I just pray, and I just say, yo, Jesus, cover them in your blood.
Ooh.
Right? And I don't even know what it was. God started showing me his family dynamic. I saw everything. And I just say, yo, God, allow him to be the man that you know he's supposed to be. He just looked at me and gave me the biggest hug I've ever gotten from anybody in the gym. So it's like stuff like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, if we're only ever in church, when are we gonna be available anywhere else?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's one thing to have an event. It's one thing to have a camp. It's we want to promote that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we have to be with these people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to spend time with them. We have to show them love, because half of the time, what else is their source of love?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, mind you, I'm in a gym. Like, people spiking 4 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah, bro.
Lifting heavy weights. I don't know if they take it.
Exactly.
I don't know what they take.
Trembolone.
I don't. Yeah, exactly.
They all know.
I don't know what they take. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like, God's able to simmer that down. And then what's even better about that is that now that was a testament. I was able to tell my boy who wasn't Christian. And he goes, wow, that's crazy. He was like, bro, I'm kind of shaking right. Like, that don't make sense. I said, bro, that's God. Like, you just got to understand it. And he kind of picked, and now he's starting to pick up. He's like, hey, yo, glory to God. And what's the beautiful thing about it? He goes, you, out of all my friends, are the only one who wouldn't have retaliated in that situation. You're the only one who simmered it down.
Wow.
I have friends that are older than you. I have friends that are the same age as you.
I probably would have swung to.
Exactly. He's like, yo, we would have been rumbling in a wild fit, you know, in a gym. He said, but yo, you chose peace. He was like, yo, that just showed me that you a real friend. You a real brother.
Right.
And yo, and like, now that, yo, like,
that's God's character.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? No,
that's
but like,
a way of preaching.
But that impacted me because I'm like, yo, God, like, I didn't even want to. He just hit my mans. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
crazy.
And God's like, I don't care what you want. You're gonna do what I ask.
Wow.
And for me, it doesn't matter how many churches I preach at. That moment was probably my most proudest moment.
Wow, bro, that's amazing.
I'm gonna be so serious.
And you know what? You know what that leads me to say as a closing thought. That leads me to say that people in the first century had the opposite problem as what they have now. You know, Paul had to tell the church of the first century, do not forsake your meeting together. Because they looked for God everywhere outside of church. So that it was possible for them to forget about their meetings and to not come together. Whereas now we have the opposite problem where we only want to come together and forget about God everywhere else in our lives.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's crazy because Paul even reminded them, hey, listen, don't forget about the meetings.
Yeah.
Don't forget about coming together because you need to come together.
It's so important, man.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the dogmatic preachers use that verse to say you got to be here all the time.
Yeah.
And this is where God is, right? But really, those people found God everywhere else.
Exactly.
And then they just, because they had God always, they forgot about having to come together. So that goes to show, bro, that's what happened with you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you found God outside and we're able to, you know, bring God everywhere you go. We have the power to bring God everywhere we go. We make the church.
The presence of the Holy Spirit is with us, bro.
The church is there and in the gym because you brought the church to the gym.
Yeah. And
amen.
It's just, my dad always says, he was like, hey, it's one thing to prepare for a service, but it's one thing to be prepared all the time.
Ooh, exactly.
And it's like, you know, there's days where, you know, you forget to pray, you forget to fast. Like, it's a relationship.
And that's normal.
You know? And it's normal, but it's just being ready. Just making sure you're ready. I could be ready, you know, for anything. I could train for a fight and be ready to, you know, do whatever, defend myself, defend my family at any given moment. But am I ready and am I capable and am I ready to defend my family from the attacks of the enemy?
Wow.
Like, yo, like, and that's
done here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I have a pastoral family.
Yes.
My attacks look a lot different.
And they come at different times.
Exactly.
Because a boxer is only prepared for a fight when he's in the ring.
Yeah.
But what about when he's outside the ring? He needs to also be prepared.
Exactly. I love that analogy. That was good. And it's like, but when I think about it, I'm just like, yo, like, this is different.
Yeah.
You know, this is different. I know what it's like to be a regular Christian because I wanted to be a regular Christian.
Yeah.
You know, but no, like, what God has for me is I know it now, I understand it's different. But how can I capitalize on the different but still allow myself, you know, to be rooted?
Right.
I feel, yo, this year God has given me preachings about trees like there's no tomorrow. Everything correlates to a tree. It's crazy.
Wow.
From the root, yo, it's funny. From the soil all the way to the fruit that it bears. But I think about it, it's like, it's because God, he wants to create, we have this crazy movement going on of youth hungry for the word of God. And it's awesome. I'm like, yo, this, like, I bought an Ohio State jersey. You know why? Just because I found out the football players were baptizing kids.
Oh.
Yo, like, during the off season, outside of the campuses. I was like, fire. Heck yeah. Like, yo,
let's do it.
I'm a Buckeyes fan now, you know what I'm saying? I don't care. They are cool. But that changed, like, yo, like, that was just like, wow. So I see that and I'm like, yo, God is planting trees. He's not, because you know how you can put a seed down and you can watch it grow. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, we can nurture. We could always be there, ready for the tree to grow. But God's gonna handle the rest.
That's right.
But have you ever seen someone when somebody buys a new house and they just want a different look, so they buy a tree that's already shrunk up,
Wow, yeah,
and they pick it up out of the ground and they put it over it. That's what God's doing right now.
Wow, yeah.
He's planting trees that are already bearing fruit, so that people can eat off of it.
Wow.
You know, because there's a lot of areas right now that we got to target. You know, and it's not churches.
Wow.
It's outside.
That's right.
There's a lot of areas that
always. You know what's the beautiful thing about a tree? Tree grows both ways. It grows up and grows down. But the most powerful part of the tree is the part you don't see.
That's right. The part that holds it up.
It's the roots. And it grows and grows and grows. And that's the part that keeps the tree up.
Grisella's going to love
that. The part
that
you don't see.
She's going to love that one.
So that and whatever God is bringing you to with the trees, bro.
Yeah.
I've always held on to that concept in my life ever since I committed faithfully to Christ. If I'm a seed or if I'm a tree and I'm planted, I need to grow first where people don't see it. So that the fruits that I bear are coming from a place of grounded, and that's Christ.
That's right.
He's the soil.
Absolutely.
And I'm growing in him.
That's right.
Anyways, this is the end of episode 27 of the Dry Bones podcast. It was a pleasure having you, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Truly, thank you so much. I know we planned it a lot and things happened, but you were a busy man.
I got to take all fault. We know
this
was supposed
busy,
to happen a long time ago.
Yeah, but look, this is a blessing. Now I understand why all that stuff was happening today.
It was
what the devil was trying to detain,
what
God is trying to do for others. I would dare to say, biased, that this was the best episode we've ever had.
Wow.
Myself. I'll say it on camera.
No, amen on that. Amen on that.
Because I've been blessed. Like I can't believe how much he's grown spiritually, and how God can use him to
a true transformation for sure.
It's a true transformation for real. Because I picked up on a lot of nuggets and a lot of things that you know how I am. Like I'm gonna simmer throughout the week or something. We're gonna talk about it and stuff like that. So I hope you guys have the same feeling. Go like, share, subscribe to the pod. Most importantly is share, because we're trying to get this content out to as many people as possible. That is the only way for us to bless others as God has called us to do, is with you guys sharing it and put it in front of eyeballs, right? If we don't do that, then truly, what are we doing? So, thank you guys for your time. Episode 27. Peace out. Deuces.